I eat clean, I, walk, I work out, I hike. So everything that I do, I should have all this energy. I just don't. So that's always been a big thing for me is I want more energy. And so we did a thing where you feel how you feel now, and then you work on these steps, and then you get to the point where like you just press this button on your hand if you want more energy, and it just like lights up. Just like you need a little shot, you don't have espresso, then boom. So that was cool.
God, that's awesome. So powerful. And I know so many weight loss clients, right? Energy is the thing that they just wish that they had so much.
Yeah.
And so just the power of the mind and imagining someone who has it and then using the technique of anchoring. Every time that I push on the knuckle, I'm always like, okay, here I am. Hi. Like, yeah. It's just bizarre. Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Hello, everyone. Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Today we have Nikki Osborne with us. Nikki is gracing us. Thank you for being here with her presence. Yeah, absolutely. A couple weeks ago, we had her awesome husband, Rusty, and he's been on the podcast before talking about neurolinguistic programming and their experience getting certified. And usually Rusty and Nikki come as a duo. But today I requested that they came separately, right? Because first of all, I was just telling Nikki, but I think you're a badass. I think you're really awesome. And just wanted everyone to be graced with your presence. And before we got on, she was saying how she just wants everyone to feel inspired to go through life with ease and with grace. And that would be a way that I feel like I would totally describe Nikki. And so Nikki has actually been helping on our team of copywriters as well for Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. And Rusty and I know each other just from the coaching communities we've been in. And Nikki decided to do neurolinguistic programming certification at the same time as him and found that it was actually helpful for her copywriting and her work as well. So thanks for being willing to share about your experience today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for letting me share my experience today.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm curious, before you did the certification with neurolinguistic programming, did you have any idea what it was? Did you look it up? What had you be interested? Just curious.
Yeah. So I did not know what it was. And I'm very much I will Google and Instagram stalk and everything. If I want to find out something, or if I'm about to do something, is like, well, I have to learn everything about it beforehand. So I'm prepared. So I did that. But what was online, I feel like what we went through was different than what I was finding online. So it was a good surprise. It was a lot more, I feel like the training was more personal than what I was seeing online. Online felt very like jagged and like, I don't want to say corporate, but I don't know. But so the training was very different than what I thought it was going to be. And it was a lot more comfortable to get into and step into that like power that you have in order to help change somebody's outlook on their life and life in general. So it was a good surprise.
Wow. I love the way that you're saying that. Yeah. And I totally agree. Like, I think one of the reasons I wanted to have people to come on to talk about their experience was because it is hard to explain neurolinguistic programming. And the stuff that you see online is, like you're saying, it's a little masculine. It could be corporate. it can be you. It's almost like cryptic. I feel like it's like, this is what it is. But then you're like, wait, is that like, because it's like hard to explain, like that we're studying consciousness and how the mind works and actually changing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but for those people listening, you probably heard me define it before, but just it's basically like how to live an extraordinary life and get out of the way, anything in the way of preventing you from just being happy and free and living with ease, like Nikki's saying. And then as a byproduct, oftentimes you can use it in work, right? So I know that you had some breakthroughs like we were talking about with your copywriting, Nikki, or like different things you're noticing. So would you mind sharing about that?
Yeah, I think it's funny because around the time that I did the training, it was when I was fully in copywriting. I'm fairly new to being a copywriter, and as of right now, fully identify as a copywriter. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Um, but around the time that I took the training is when marketing started changing online. And marketing went from masculine to we're now living in the feminine marketing. And just less, you need to do this. If you're not doing this, then, just yelling and anger versus now it's feminine and it's more of a, well, think about a time when, or how does, certain looking in within yourself versus starting here and then moving forward. I feel like the feminine marketing and NLP is looking backwards and then going and see, it's hard to explain. It's the same thing. That's why it was so different. You have to go through it to understand it. But I feel like the NLP and the feminine marketing is looking backwards and then you flow with it into forwards. And it's, I don't know, the timing was really good on that.
That's really awesome. Yeah. And I remember you had some interesting personal breakthroughs. I can't remember exactly of just like, why not go all the way in, like what's stopping me from being able to say that do you remember?
Yeah, vaguely, but yeah, because it's so different now. It's only been a few months, but it's so different.
Oh my God. It's like, yeah, I just felt like Nikki stepped into her power, just like, oh, wow, that I wasn't fully stepping into it because, and this is how life is. It's always a story from our past getting in the way of our declaring or owning or stepping into what it is that we really want today. Mm-hmm. And like I say to my clients all the time, it's like through awareness comes freedom. So once you see the past pattern that's directly correlated, and it's like no one can see it for you, like as the result of quieting the mind, using the tools, and just trusting that your unconscious mind will show you what it needs to show you. And then it's like the correlation is just made. And now it's just like, aha, like that's why. And then it becomes easy to step in, to take the action, which is how we train our hypnosis for permanent weight loss clients, weight loss clients as well. When we do reparenting, is like, I never know what memory is going to come up when we go into their stress or into their body. But every single time, it's exactly what needs to come up that immediately and directly correlates with the challenge that they're dealing with in this present moment. Mm-hmm. So it was just wonderful to watch you. Like, it was really cool to watch you. It was just like, it was so fun for me specifically with you to just have you be like, oh, wow. Like, and then just like, I was like, oh my God. And then, I was so in love. And then like getting to know like how you and Rusty work together and how awesome like your marriage is. And like, he just totally respects you in your lane, like not adding anything, like right back at him. Like, it was just awesome. It was such an awesome unfolding of the whole thing. And to wrap around what you were saying as well, for people who are listening, it's the art of communication is a huge aspect of it. And like Nikki is saying, it's like the way of communicating these days is a lot more story based. I find maybe that's the feminine or whatever. For myself, my entire growing of this business has been sharing personal awarenesses, right? From something I've experienced, something that happened in the past. And then what I realized because of that, and then what I'm doing now to overcome that thing that I realized was getting in my way. And so I love that it's like by sharing those kinds of things, whatever you go through, which the NLP tools guide you to get there, right? Then it forces someone to go within and take a look within themselves, right? It's like, first I share what's my experience. And then it's like, well, and so how about for you? When you look within, what's the truth for you? Or what's your deeper answer here? And then the transformation is just within two people sharing, their experiences, and let's move you forward the same way that I did now. And then that becomes the new like way of copywriting is to share like that.
And I think it was interesting because that whole just segment you just talked about, you didn't talk about weight loss specific or somebody wanting to lose weight. And that's how I'm pulling NLP, because I write for multiple different niches. I write for a health coach. I write for a business coach. I write for a human design coach. So different. And I'm able to use the same starting point of like looking within, or think about a time, or sharing their stories. And it could toggle somebody else's memory of like, oh yeah, I didn't like that when that happened 15 years ago. I didn't think of that. And then now it's up to the present, and now they're thinking about it, and then they can work through it. Like Rusty, he'll think of something just out of the blue from 20 years ago. And once he works through it, then he's able to, it changes it, but he didn't know that was there. He didn't know he needed to work on that. So to be able to use NLP in the feminine marketing that's right now, just the storytelling, being more honest, being more with your feelings, being more with yourself, and knowing that you can work on it within yourself to change whatever you're going through. And then, step into that power kind of thing, like you're saying.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the access to people, like addiction stuff and behavior going away, from knowing how to feel your feelings, to address the past, to have whatever emotion flow through you that might come up as a result of using that NLP tool. And then now you're in the present moment. And then we want to naturally, when we feel good or have a release, it's like we're just present and we know what next action we want to take.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I just know that's authenticity. That's the right action, is when it's coming from a place where it's not like an emotional high or emotional low, or because you feel like you're not good enough or you're not worthy, but it's just like, what's there for you when you get to a place of emotional neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
And not disregard what's going on in the background. It's really fantastic and so cool that you're finding that, with anybody. Yeah, it's the new way we talked about copywriting, but just marketing in general is like, and it's like authentic marketing as well, because it's just the only thing that's real is the fact that everyone is a separate entity. Like everyone has their own life path. There is no right or wrong way to do anything, but there is a next right action for each human being when they get to a space of, right. One of my most recent transformations that I've been sharing was when I was 13 years old. I was depressed. It took everything to tell my mom that I was feeling depressed. She took me to the nurse practitioner. They did a checklist with me, and then it wasn't talked about again. And the following year, was told I could do Weight Watchers with my aunt, I think, as a way to like, this is my way to help her. Right. But there was no space for emotionality. Right. I felt, disregarded, or, there was nowhere for the emotions to go, because I wasn't met with that compassion or that kind of care or love. And then getting present to like, so where is that 13-year-old girl now? Right. Because it was never completed. That energy was never completed. And it's like, I think she's still here. Right. And kind of like, there's the next layer to my food thing, right? Is like, or my attachment to like needing to have a partner or something like that, because it was like, I needed something to numb out when my 13-year-old was still coming about in the present moment and saying, I had a really hard day, like, and had no one to listen to her, because I never learned how to listen to her. And there was no external example of how to listen to her and how to be with her. So it's again like just reparenting. And I just sit in meditation and I'll be like, I'll feel all this angsty energy and it'll just be like, right. And I listen and it's just like she just wants to say how hard her day was. She just wants to say what she hated about what happened this past weekend, right? She just wants to have this big rant about it and like have a cry. And it was like, oh my God, to just be the one who's being with her as she just, it's like, yeah, you can be, I can be that space for you. Like, say it all. And then once it's out, it's like, then I introduce like yeah, but you want to know what you did awesome this past weekend? Like, this is actually a great sign of growth that this is happening. Like, let's look at that for a second. And it's like, it's like Mario just ate a mushroom and it's like, like now we're back, or the star or whatever. And it's just like, here we go. And then I no longer am needing food or a relationship or something else, from the outside. The graspiness goes away. And again, I'm back in my own power, my own entity, my own space. And it feels amazing.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, myself included, it's easy to blame others for whatever's wrong with our lives. And it's easy to blame our parents for our terrible lives that we have now, quote. And to be able to know that, yes, they could have definitely done bad things and didn't help you become an adult in a good way, in a loving, caring way. But instead of just, going till the day that you die and blaming them for it and wishing, why I oughta, you can go within yourself and just be like, I'll be the mom now. I'll change some things. And it's nice knowing that there's tools out there for that, because they can't reverse what they did. They did, a lot of times, a lot of parents are doing the best that they can with the tools that they have. And so now as an adult, if you didn't have the best childhood, best, parent life, you now have different tools than your parents did. And you can use those tools to kind of reparent what they worked to do to you as your parent.
100%. Yeah. And like a huge breakthrough for me in that whole journey with parenting or whatever was, I used to have my parents on a pedestal where I just be like, we're good. Like everything's good. They did a fantastic job raising me. I'm so grateful. Right. And then slowly uncovering like, oh, where they failed. Right. Or like what didn't happen. And then going into actually allowing myself to feel the anger and resentment and being pissed off that they didn't teach me how to be an adult and they didn't know how to be nurturing and compassionate towards me. Like before it's like, oh no, like don't go there. There's nowhere that we can go from that. But it has been an actual really important part of my healing as I've been telling my clients recently that meditation, it teaches us to stay above the thoughts, don't attach to any thoughts. Right. And it's like, I've been doing it for years successfully, and just like whatever, and have a great whatever because of it. But then realizing like I'm actually missing something by not attaching to the feelings of abandonment or neglect or nobody cares about me. Right. That part of myself had no, again, like ability to let it out. So it was just like a few weeks ago, I was on my couch. I was doing a weekend long virtual retreat. And I decided during the meditation, as they're telling me to stay above the thoughts, I was like, I'm going in. Right. I was like, we are going to actually attach to the anger, to the sadness, to the resentment. And it was just like, I just had a wailing party. Like, it was like, there's been a lot of that in this house recently. I'm very grateful I live alone to just like have this space. I was like, if my windows are open, my neighbors would be like, what is going on with that 33-year-old woman in the house across the street? She's crying all the time. But it's like a huge healing breakthrough for me because I wasn't feeling before. So
yeah, you didn't do that when you were 13.
Exactly. I even got the feedback from my family of being like, you're angry lately or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, the 13-year-old's back, baby. Like she's mad. Like I've been like consciously keeping my distance a bit from my family just because I'm like, not fair to them, because it's just like what I'm going through right now to, become the woman I'm committed to becoming, an adult first and foremost. but then having the actual anger of being like saying out loud, like, I can't believe, like, to my parents, like, you guys were the war, like just saying
Yeah.
out loud to like get it out. And that was interesting because then when I shifted over to like imagining I was actually saying it to them in the reparenting exercise I give my clients, it's like we have them actually imagine, similar to RIM sessions, which I'm sure you've experienced before.
Yeah.
And then having them like, okay, imagining that they just heard what I said, right? Those horrible things, and then having them respond. And it was like they were mad and being like, you're an a-hole, like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, that's unkind. And it just was good though, because it had me realize that projecting that or having them get that stuff goes nowhere. But I couldn't have just consciously thought that. I had to like be in the emotion and be in the practice to actually be like, it serves no one to actually be mad at them. And then I was able to reach a level of acceptance. And then it just became a conversation within myself, right? Again, with the reparenting of being like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. They did abandon you. Like they did not have compassion for you at all. Like they didn't see you. They didn't, whatever. And then it's just like, okay, so I'm here now, girl, like, what do we want to do? Like, how can I help you today? And then it's like just all the way around. It's like completing the entire cycle where it's no longer like I'm above it or I'm in it. It's like I'm acknowledging all of it. And then it's just, and then I'm being my own best friend in that moment. So
your own Aunt Leslie, who's there on the side.
I love that. I love that a lot. Amazing. Cool. And what would you say in the training was your favorite tool or one of your biggest takeaways that you had as a result of being there?
I think the ones that we did on ourselves to change certain aspects of ourselves, I just, like we've said, I went into it. I don't have clients that I speak to, being a copywriter, everything's online. I don't have to verbally talk to anybody. So the ones that resonated with me the most were the ones that I was doing on myself. One that was cool is just, I just lack energy. I eat clean. I, walk, I work out, I hike. So everything that I do, I should have all this energy. I just don't. So that's always been a big thing for me is I want more energy. And so we did a thing where I forget the name. It's been long. I forget the name of it. But it was like, you feel how you feel now, and then you work on these steps. And then you get to the point where like, you just press this button on your hand if you want more energy, and it just like lights up. But one of the main things, anchoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the main thing was like thinking of somebody who you want to embody that has the energy. So that was really helpful because I wasn't doing that at all. And so for me, it was my mom. My mom just has loads of energy. She is a energizer rabbit. And so thinking of her and just embodying like my mom as energy. And so that was really nice. And it stuck with me. It just like, you need a little shot, you don't have espresso, then boom. So that was cool.
God, that's awesome. So powerful. And so many weight loss clients, right? Energy is the thing that they just wish that they had so much.
Yeah.
And so just the power of the mind and imagining someone who has it and then using the technique of anchoring. I know Rusty was saying he loved the anchoring too, but it is every time that I push on the knuckle, I'm always like, okay, here I am. Hi. It's just bizarre. Cool. Were there any other ones that you remember?
Trying to think.
Oh, I know. I was going to ask you what your human design is because we just interviewed Kelsey on the podcast yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what yours is?
A projector.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So am I.
Oh, okay.
And we don't
Rusty
really
is
have
too, but we're very different. Is he? Yeah, we have very different traits. Like I resonate with these few, he resonates with these few. So it's really interesting.
Wow, that is interesting. But yeah, we're not really Energizer bunnies. We don't get our own energy. We have to get it from the outside pretty much. So yeah, that can also be awesome, as well as the power of the mind to just imagine someone with energy.
One of the things, if your listeners aren't in the world of human design, I'm newly in it. But I love it. But it's really interesting if you wanted to like just start, reading more up about human design, your human design, because one of the things that Kelsey said in a podcast, I believe, just like your human design is not an excuse to do what your human design kind of says. It's more of like a tool of like, well, my human design says that I'm lazy and I, lay around, like I'm not energetic, and like it's not an excuse to do that. It's merely just a tool to be like, okay, you're designed to do this, but then here's how to change it. Here's how to work through that and like, rise above that if you don't want to do that kind of thing. So I think it's so interesting. Just the human design hypnosis, it's wild.
Yep, it really is wild. It just nails it right on the head. We have Kelsey in our for our accelerator clients coaching on a regular basis, because it's just the most profound tool that one of the most. I also think astrology and knowing your natal birth chart is super powerful as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a good point. It's just like knowing what it is. But I always say to people, like, don't let it lock you in a box. Like you can't be something different, but just, it's the same thing as like, whenever you admit you have a problem, then you can, right. It's like, not that, but it's just like accepting, like, this is my natural makeup, right? This is going to be where I like, and because of that, now I can like figure out what I can do with this that's going to work for me.
Yeah. And it's good for weight loss. Like if you're overweight and in the obese category and you say I'm obese, that doesn't mean that that's just going to be how it's going to be. You don't have to be obese always. Like then you take that information, purely data, and then work with it and work down from there kind of thing. So it plays a lot in the, just don't use it as an excuse, just use it purely as a tool, and everybody's going through the same stuff in their lives.
Definitely. And that goes all the way into, right, we are what we believe. So it can be really hurtful and not helpful to have a diagnosis or smack a label on us like obese or whatever, lazy, or because as soon as you just take it on, then it's like, that's who you become.
Yeah.
Versus if we can detach from that using a lot of the NLP tools, that we teach, like emotionally detach from it. And then it's like, okay, that's just like what's here, but it's not who I am or something I have to stick with forever. And I can change it at any time if I have the right tools. Yeah. And you guys used to do weight loss coaching as well, correct?
Yes.
And I'm sure our audience would be interested. How much, you and Rusty, like how much weight did you lose? You mind sharing a little bit about that journey for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. Rusty lost, I believe, over 85 pounds. He was running, he was, eating what you're supposed to, and just nothing was working until he, started looking within and changing relationship with food, and then just figuring out what works for his body. Not listening to what you should be eating, but listening to himself, tell himself what his body should be eating. So
that was so powerful. Yeah. When I had him on last week and he was saying like how he communicates with his self and his body. Like, he's like, what do you think about lightening up 5 pounds, body? And like, he'll be like, if he gets a no, he'll be like, nope, not the right time. Or if he gets a yes, he'll be like, all right, cool, we're doing it. And then it happens. Like, I love that he has that dialogue. So awesome.
Yeah. And that goes with the tools thing. Like a lot of people don't have the tools to do that. And, your audience, everybody here, Rusty, our people, like we're lucky enough to be able to have the tools and everybody's been able to use them. I had lost, I believe, just like overall 30 pounds, which was really good. But my main thing was just feeling better. So I haven't, Rusty just got a scale because he's working on a weight thing, or not a weight thing, an abs thing right now. But I haven't weighed myself in probably over a year, maybe 2 years. I don't see that as an indicator of anything, just data. I see it as data. I really just go with how I feel. So beforehand, I was just going on the number. And then once I changed everything, it's just going on how I feel, what my body tells me. And that was the biggest tool, was just being able to listen to my body and it tell me sometimes it'll tell me like, okay, yeah, you had that, don't do that again. But I'll let it slide this time. And I can hear that. I hear the words. So it's really interesting. It's really cool. I'm glad that, because we eat tacos, we'll go out, we don't shy away. We'll have, we know dairy affects us and we don't feel good. So we'll have dairy-free ice cream that's full of sugar and random stuff sometimes. But the intention is different than it was before. And we're able to enjoy outside food versus being so strict like we used to be, which is a huge, huge difference. So that's been nice.
I love when I hear that people have gotten to the place that you guys have gotten with that kind of stuff. Cause there's so much more to health than just like being perfect all the time, right? It's kind of like you kind of go on this. First, it's like it's really bad, and then you go all the way into like doing really perfect all the time, and like then getting scared of weight gain and scared of eating any foods that have any, whatever in it or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, how do we then get into a place where it's like the fear about weight gain or about certain foods is gone, and you can like trust yourself that you're actually going to make empowered choices instead of not doing that. And 30 pounds is significant. I remember I lost 30 pounds as well when I was, going hard on all the being healthy stuff. And cause you're short too, right? Like me.
Yeah.
I'm 5'2".
Yeah, I'm 5. So 30 pounds, I was not healthy, like not at all. I didn't look good. Just, you could tell I didn't feel good, look good wise. So, and yeah, just being able to, like you said, we did do the perfection. I was at my lowest, and I looked good and I liked what I was doing, but to be able to just go out on a Saturday and be like, you know what, I want some tacos. I want dirty taco truck tacos today. And I know what's going to happen afterwards. I know how I'm going to feel. I know what's going to happen to me the day after. And then I choose if I want to deal with that. So that's why we eat on Saturdays, because we don't work on Sundays. And then Monday we're back to normal. So, and a little bit of weight gain from it, like we're okay with that, because we know the enjoyment from it was worth it in our eyes, every couple weeks.
Yeah, that's amazing. And a lot of my clients will, at first they're just like, we need more structure, we need more rules. And it's like the point of being like, we need you to actually learn how to listen to your inner self, right? And like be with your feelings and like get you to a place of being like, where you're saying like, this is what I feel like I want to do. This is the lifestyle I want to have, like it's part of my overall social health and whatever, like all the different types of health to have sometimes when I'm having dairy-free ice cream that might have whatever things in it or whatever, which I also do, by the way, because I don't like the way that dairy ice cream makes me feel at all.
Right. Yeah.
But I do like the dairy-free ones.
And they're sugary, so we don't do it all the time at all. So, but it's fun to do it every once in a while. And we wouldn't have done that a couple years ago. we didn't do that. It was strict. And now we're not even strict. We just eat what we want, and what our bodies wants turns out to be meat and veggies. So it's what we were eating, but the
when
label
you were being perfect, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And but that label off of it is just so much more, it's a lot better. So
it can be intuitive of like trusting that you're, because now that you know what it feels like, it's like, oh, now I can make a choice of how I want to feel versus anything else. But it's a process. It's a journey to get there, but I'm happy that you guys got there. And I know Rusty said he still doesn't have any desire to drink beer since doing the NLP training.
Yeah.
Did you have any food stuff? I can't remember what yours was.
During mine, because I've quit alcohol. What is it? I'm coming up on 4 years.
Nice.
But I remember during NLP, I was talking about, I still crave beer.
Oh, like that's right.
Corona.
That's right. It was Corona.
But we did that. And like, honestly, it's been summertime. That's when you drink Corona. And I haven't thought of it once. And we've been at Mexican restaurants where Corona is flowing. And I don't ever it's just now hitting me. Thinking back, I don't ever remember like, creepily staring at the guy drinking the Corona because I wanted it. So that's really interesting. I didn't even think of that. I haven't craved it.
Wow. And we did
That's
your
funny.
training in what month? It was in
April,
May, June, July, August. So 4 months, not
huh.
even thinking about it. Amazing.
And that was like a 5-minute practice. I feel like
It
we
was a
did like
quick one. Mapping across like to dislike, our clients get it as well. I think you made it in the Corona into a bottle of pee, didn't you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Oh my God. It reminds me of Dumber and Dumber.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, just nice to get that stuff out of your space. Cool. So in our, talk about cryptic NLP for someone who might not be sure or, is thinking about it or whatever about doing the training, final thoughts for them that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I went into it not knowing anything. I am not somebody who has clients, technical clients that I see or talk to on a daily basis. It's all texting. And I still got so much out of it, just for me, myself, or learning about like Rusty, just going through it with him. So if you have a significant other, like going through it together, I think was really interesting and really cool.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just learning more about them, and just, as somebody who didn't have quote much to work through, I still got so much out of it. And it's just nice knowing, I have my folder, you get a snazzy folder with all the information afterwards. So you always have something to turn to. And if you're ever going through something, you have more tools than what you can just find on YouTube, to work on something within yourself. And you can call a friend if you want to, or you can, call yourself, and the training helps a lot with that.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Always more powerful to hear it from you guys than just myself. So if anyone is thinking about it, this is the last one that I'm going to be giving for, I don't know how long, maybe 5 years, maybe 10, because we really want to focus our efforts. What'd you say?
We're doing that one too.
Yes, it's right. You're coming back for the hypnosis. So if you want to be in there with Rusty and Nikki, the timeline therapy and the NLP coaching as well. Then now's the time. When I did NLP, I feel like it's always a special experience because it's just like, you can't describe what you're about to endure as far as just like being in trance kind of the entire time and going within yourself and being with the other people and the intimacy. But I do feel that every training is different. And I feel like who is leading you in it, like you never forget your NLP training. There's just like it's a time. At least everyone that I've talked to has felt that way as well, and makes a major shift in your life. So if you guys are impartial or partial to me in some way, happy to do it. I think I just have a couple spots left. I have a lot of binders to send out. The end of this month is when I'm ordering them. So let us know. We're here for you. And Nikki, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time. And if anyone has copywriting needs, just in case, how can they find where you're at?
Yeah, so I work for a wonderful lady, Hannah Hermanson, and her company is Dream Life is Real Life. So she's on Instagram. She has a really snazzy website, dreamlifeisreallife.com. You can go ahead and reach out to her on there. But she has a team of ladies who write for coaches, and they do websites and just all of your copywriting needs.
Yeah, you guys have done a fantastic job. I really appreciate it. We had 30 people come into our healthy hypnosis hour yesterday, and we found out that most of them were through the emails and the texts that you guys help us make. Awesome. So it's really a big impact that you're making for people by the due diligence that you bring. So thank you so much. And for everyone listening, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. 854-83.